Peace, family. Sean Mack. Right now there's a lot of talk of war. You know, that's something that's in the news cycle right now. That's like running through over and over. What is war? War is nation against nation. It's armed conflict. But Elijah Muhammad said that the greatest war, the greatest jihad that we can do or can have is the war against self. The war against your own self, conquering your own self, your own mind, your own spirit, your own body, your own bad habits that lead us to be self-destructive. This thing called the polarity strategy, and there's a book called The 33 Strategies of War by Robert Greene, and it says that you cannot win a war until you know your enemy and you know yourself. But when you understand your enemy and you understand yourself, inwardly declare war. So in order to do that, we have to understand what is actually afflicting us. What is the problem within ourselves that makes a lot of us makes it hard to focus, or we're feeling down, or we're not feeling like our best self. We feel like we need something. We're feeling mentally stressed out. Whether it be kids at home, whether it be we're just not physically feeling right. But we have to understand what's impacting us in order to be able to fight it, in order to be able to elevate ourselves. So physically, what's hurting us? Well, the food we're eating, the low vibration food we're eating on a regular daily basis for a lot of us is weakening us. All foods have chemicals in them, and we are composed of different chemicals. So all foods have chemicals in them, and those foods each have an impact on us. So when eating low vibration food that's sprayed with a lot of DDT sprays and a lot of these they're starting to make more lab concocted foods. That food doesn't help to power us, and if anything is not giving you energy, it's taking it away. Elijah Muhammad said that a lot of us we're eating 3, 4, 5 times a day, and when you're doing that, you're essentially not giving your body a chance to recuperate. And especially if you're eating a whole bunch of meat, that food is bringing down your energy, it's bringing down your spirit. It's making you, a little bit less of yourself, because everything you eat has an impact on how you feel, how you think, and how you look. Mentally, what are you feeding on? The things that we're feeding on for a lot of us is like low vibration shit. So, it's weakening our subconscious. Like, what are you feeding your subconscious? And, that's why Bob Marley said, emancipate yourself from mental slavery. None but ourselves can free our mind. Because even though we're not physically in chains anymore, a lot of us are just bound up in the shit that we have to do on a daily basis that keeps us from even getting a chance to want to be our best selves. Caught up in our daily lives and the propaganda we're fed on a daily basis, a lot of that shit is just stressing us out. So that's why you gotta find a way to get out of that news cycle, so that way it's not weakening your mind. Spiritually, what are you feeding yourself? Well, most of us aren't feeding on anything spiritually, and for a lot of us, for some of us, it's like, I don't need to read anything. It's not about which faith you're a part of or anything like that. But think of it like this. Ms. Farrakhan said, spirit is the energy of life. So, you don't know electricity if anybody's an electrician. You don't know electricity unless you have a physical conduit for the electricity. You don't know, or you can't touch or see Wi-Fi unless you have a Wi-Fi router. Now, prior to us having these inventions, that didn't mean that this signal, that power there it didn't exist. We didn't have the understanding, and we didn't have the physical tool that allow us to hold that energy, to hold that power. And that's all we are as a spirit. Like, this is the vessel, this is a body. So if you're not doing anything to power that natural life energy inside of you, reading through a spiritual word, a word of wisdom, a word of power, whichever book you want to read, I like to read the Quran and I read the Bible. But if you're not taking those steps, then your spirit's going to feel weak. If you're not taking the time to pray, you're not taking the time to bow your head, close your eyes, and connect to self, meditate, you're naturally not connected to yourself. You're just absorbing everything that's outside, and all that shit is just it's like overfeeding your mind, overfeeding your spirit. So you naturally feel spiritually weak. You naturally feel mentally drained. You naturally feel physically like we don't have energy, and we wonder why we can't. You may not be feeling like your best self. Wonder why you don't have the energy to get up. Wonder why you feel like you're always in a bad mood. All these things affect our emotions, it affects our thoughts, and it affects our spirit. In the book of Corinthians, there's this verse that says, don't you know that you yourselves are the real house of God? And don't you know that God's spirit dwells in your midst? So, this is the physical temple. We call it a body, but this is the physical temple. And so if we want to protect ourselves at this time when there's so much things affecting us, so much talk of warfare, so much talk of the food that we're putting inside of us, what we're feeding on mentally through our eyes is draining us. What we're listening to a lot of times is low vibration shit, and if you're not taking the time to connect to your spirit, to get quiet, to meditate, to be alone, you're gonna always feel like you're gonna feel off. You're gonna feel off your game, and especially as men, if you're not taking that time you're not taking that time as a king to step away and be like, I gotta take care of myself, you're gonna feel off your shit. So it's about arming our temples, or I like to say arming our redemption. You know, our redemption is the action of like saving yourself, or action of saving something from error. Something is fallen, and you know, you redeem it. You know, you're saving it. You're bringing it back from where it was fallen to, and you're making sure it's safe. And that's what we need to do with ourselves, mentally, physically, and spiritually. We may not be able to control what's happening over there. You know, we may not be able to control what's happening over there, you know, in terms of this, you know, warfare and everything like that. But one thing we do have dominion over is ourselves. You know, that's what a kingdom is. You know, kingdom, you have dominion over yourself, over your own mind, to do what you want to do for yourself, to build for yourself each and every day. Yes, we all have schedules, but at the same time, if you're not going to take time for, if not going to take time for ourselves, then somebody else is going to take your time for them. You know, this is the time now.